Throughout history, chaos has always been one of the greatest fears of humanity. The unknown, the uncontrollable, the destructive forces that disrupt order. These are things people have tried to fight against for millennia. But what if the Bible tells us that chaos itself has a purpose? One of the most mysterious and terrifying creatures in Scripture, Leviathan, is often associated with chaos. Described as an unstoppable sea monster, a twisting serpent, a force beyond human control, Leviathan is more than just a mythological beast. He is a symbol of raw, untamed chaos in the world, a force that God Himself acknowledges and even allows to exist. But why? If Leviathan represents chaos, why did God create him? What role does chaos play in the world and in our lives? In today's video, we will explore who or what is Leviathan in the Bible. Why would God create chaos if He is a God of order? And how does the spirit of Leviathan manifest in our world today? Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. Do you think chaos is necessary in the world, or should it be completely eliminated? Now, let's dive in. Leviathan appears in multiple passages of the Bible, each time described as something terrifying and beyond human control. One of the most detailed descriptions comes from Job 41, where God Himself speaks of Leviathan's power. Can you pull in Leviathan with a fishhook? Can you tie down its tongue with a rope? When it rises up, the mighty are terrified. They retreat before its thrashing. Nothing on earth is its equal, a creature without fear. Job 41:1, 25, 33. Here, Leviathan is portrayed as a creature so powerful that even the strongest warriors flee before it. No weapon can harm it, no man can subdue it, and it breathes fire, making it almost invincible. In Psalm 104, verse 26, however, Leviathan is spoken of in a completely different way. There is the sea, vast and spacious, and Leviathan, which you formed to frolic there. This verse presents a strange contrast. Leviathan, the unstoppable beast of Job, is here depicted as simply another part of God's creation, freely roaming the seas. This suggests that Leviathan, though dangerous, is not an enemy of God. Rather, it is something that exists within His creation, operating under His will. Finally, in Isaiah 27:1, we see yet another view of Leviathan. In that day the Lord will punish with His sword, His fierce, great and powerful sword, Leviathan the gliding serpent, Leviathan the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. This passage connects Leviathan with the forces of evil and destruction that will ultimately be defeated by God. But why does Leviathan exist? If chaos is something to be overcome, why did God create it in the first place? If God is a God of order, why would He create something like Leviathan, a being that embodies chaos, destruction, and uncontrollable power? To understand this, we need to look at chaos not just as something negative, but as something that plays a role in God's divine plan. When God speaks of Leviathan in Job 41, it is not to terrify Job, but to humble him. Job had questioned God's justice, struggling to understand why he, a righteous man, was suffering. God's response? To remind him that there are things beyond human control. Leviathan represents the unpredictable and uncontrollable forces of life, things we cannot master, no matter how strong or wise we are. Just as Job had to accept that some things are beyond his understanding, we too must accept that there are forces in this world that we cannot tame. Instead of fighting chaos, we must trust in the one who controls it. If we look at the natural world, chaos is not always destructive. Storms, earthquakes, and wildfires may seem like disasters, but they also bring renewal and balance. Leviathan, as a creature of the sea, represents this aspect of creation, untamed but necessary. In Psalm 104, verse 26, Leviathan is described not as an enemy, but as something God allows to frolic in the sea. This suggests that chaos is not always evil, it has a place in the balance of creation. Without challenges, without the wild and unpredictable, life would be static and lifeless. In Isaiah 27:1, Leviathan is finally defeated by God, symbolizing the final victory of divine order over chaos. This mirrors the spiritual battle that exists in the world, between truth and deception, light and darkness. We live in a world that is not yet fully restored, where chaos still has power. But the Bible assures us that in the end, God's order will triumph over the forces of destruction. But what does this mean for us today? Let's look at how the spirit of Leviathan, chaos itself, manifests in the modern world. Leviathan is more than a creature of ancient mythology. It is a symbol of how chaos operates in our world today. We see its influence everywhere. Global instability and division, wars, conflicts, political corruption. The more humanity tries to create peace without God, the more unstable the world becomes. Personal struggles and mental chaos, anxiety, depression, and inner battles feel like waves crashing over us, threatening to consume us. The fight against truth, people reject God's truth, replacing it with their own definitions of morality. Just as Leviathan cannot be tamed, neither can a world that refuses to acknowledge God's authority. In all these things, we see chaos taking hold, making people believe they are in control while actually pulling them deeper into disorder. But the Bible tells us that Leviathan does not have the final victory. While we cannot fully remove chaos from the world, we are told not to fear it. Psalm 46, verse 1-2 says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea." How do we stand against the spirit of Leviathan? We must trust in God's sovereignty. Just as Job learned, even the strongest forces of chaos are under God's control. We must stay anchored in faith. The storms will come, but Jesus calmed the sea, Mark 4:39, showing his authority over chaos. We must reject fear, embrace order. Instead of succumbing to confusion, live according to God's truth and stability. And most importantly, we remember that in the end, Leviathan will be destroyed, and God's order will reign forever. Leviathan is more than a mythical sea monster. It is a symbol of chaos, both in the natural world and in our spiritual lives. It represents the storms of life, the battles we face, and the uncontrollable forces that shake the world. God allows chaos to exist, but he remains in control of it. In the end, chaos will be defeated, and God's perfect order will be restored. What do you think? Does chaos have a purpose, or should it be completely eliminated? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights on biblical mysteries. Stay strong in faith, and see you in the next video.